So today I'm just kind of having a chill filming day. I haven't gone too crazy with the makeup or anything. I just kind of wanted to put a little bit of just basic stuff on and then come on and chat with you about purchases from 2019. So I started this series last month. I intend to film it probably towards the end of every single month, which was looking back on the things that I had purchased the year prior and seeing where those products are. Do I still like them? Do I still have them in my collection? Did I declutter them? Are they favorites? So on and so forth. So I have my sheet printed out from May of 2019. And to be honest, I haven't really even looked at this. So some of this is going to be me reacting and probably diving back into my makeup drawers to pull products out to show you. But let's just kind of do this off the cuff. I think it'll be fun. All right, so here we go. First thing on my list was my Curology 2-month bottle. Okay, that's right. So last month was the month that I had tried Curology for the first time. I got a free small bottle when you first sign up to kind of see if the formula works for you. If you don't like it, they will tweak it and send you a different bottle. So they'll work with you until you have a formula that works for you specifically. But mine worked very well right out of the gate. So I went ahead and did that bottle. I've continued to do that for the last year. So I've spent a year now on tretinoin and my other sort of mixture from Curology, and I do really like it. Let's see. Milk Makeup Work It set. What was in this? I want to say I have decluttered almost all the things. Okay, here it was. Okay, so it was a sample of their Kush mascara. It was a mini lip and cheek and a mini highlighter. Okay, so I don't think I actually kept any of this. I did not care for the mascara. It was flaky, smudgy mess on me. It was a hot mess. It looked great when I first put it on, but definitely in terms of wearability, it was really bad. And I only test mascaras on my top lashes. I have a waterproof mascara from CoverGirl that I always use on my lower lash line because I know I'm gonna get smudging down there, so I don't even attempt to put new mascaras through their paces in that respect. So I just tested this on my top lashes. I remember it flaking and smudging on me, so that was a no. The mini lip and cheek was in sort of a rosy shade. It was fine. Part of me wonders if I was on the cusp at that point in terms of like my love for cream products. Part of me wonders if I would feel differently about that product now, given the fact that the last, 6 months or so, I've really fall hardcore for my cream products. I don't know about that one. So I do remember the cream highlighter was a little deep for my skin tone, and I remember it feeling like it really wasn't anything to like write home about. Like I had other cream highlighters in my collection that were doing exactly the same thing. So I think I remember passing that on to a friend. Okay, up next, Kaja products. I had picked up the Mochi Pop Bouncy Blush and a Kaja Moon Crystal Eye Pigment. I do still have both of those. I think this was when I was first starting to get into Kaja. I had tried a couple of things from them, and I just kind of wanted to explore this brand a little bit further. So this is the Mochi Pop Blush. I have the shade Atmosphere. It is sort of one of those like cushiony, not cushiony, marshmallowy type textures. It definitely gives me ColourPop Super Shock Shadow vibes, except for it's a little stiffer, so you could honestly use this as a powder blush, and it really is sort of a cream powder hybrid kind of blush. So for somebody who maybe wanted to try creams who was a little nervous around them, this is a formula that I think would work really well for you. So I do like this. It is still part of my collection. And then the Moon Crystal eyeshadow, I got Tiger's Eye. That's the color here. This is a really interesting color because it's loaded with all kinds of glitter, and it just looks like a brown when you first pump it out on the back of your hand. But it actually has a really interesting sort of teal green shift to it. So it gives a little bit of color dimension in a way that you don't really notice, I think, when you're first staring at it in the tube. I have heard that this formula is a little inconsistent in terms of opacity and wearability though, but I did want to call that out. I do feel like this is a formula where some shades are better than others. Okay, up next, Charlotte Tilbury Magic Foundation. That's actually on here twice this month, and later on I return shade 1 and get it back as a gift card and then rebuy it, I think this month. Maybe it's next month I rebuy it. I think it might be June where we see that come back on. But I had bought the Magic Foundation in shade 1. It was just too light on me. I ended up getting shade 2. So here is shade 2. I have shade 2 in her Light Wonder foundation as well, although I will say the Light Wonder foundation is a little bit deeper in shade 2 than this. This is probably a better skin match for me. The shade 2 in the Light Wonder is just a hair too deep, but because it's more of a light coverage foundation, I find that enough of my skin is peeking through that it's not like you're totally wearing the wrong shade of foundation. I like this one. I think it's a really nice natural finish foundation. It doesn't stay particularly dewy on my skin, but nor does it dry it out and make it look super matte. And it wears really well. This is one that I would absolutely recommend for like brides for weddings because I think it's gonna last really long. I think it's gonna look really natural. I actually like mixing this with the Light Wonder to kind of get a glowier light medium coverage, because this is definitely medium coverage and the Light Wonder is a light coverage foundation. So they play really well together. I really like this. The packaging, of course, because it's Charlotte, is just top notch. So I also picked up a little compact for my travel bag. I'm not gonna go get that, that's all the way downstairs, but I do have a Kate Spade compact that I wanted because I wanted a mirror in my travel makeup bag. And this is not my travel makeup bag as in like, this is like my little makeup bag that sometimes sits in my purse and most of the time sits in my computer bag. So when I'm traveling, I have basic things like blotting papers and a setting powder and a little baby deodorant and some chapstick and a little bit thing of perfume, like touch up on the go type stuff, especially when I'm traveling. And so I wanted that compact, but I wanted something cute. And I really liked how the Kate Spade little teal gold combo looked. It's held up well too, I should say. Okay, I got the OMA Beauty foundation. I remember liking this foundation, but feeling like I had gotten the wrong shade. I feel like the foundation actually was very similar to the Light Wonder foundation in the sense that it was sort of a demi-matte, soft matte, maybe satin is a better way to describe it. Natural finish, that's probably the better way to describe it. A natural finish foundation, but I had a really hard time figuring out my shade, and I had ordered these online based off just looking at things on their website. And in hindsight, I should have waited. I ended up with an Ulta by me that actually had a full display of OMA Beauty, and I feel like I would have found a better shade at some point. I ended up giving that one over to a friend though, versus exchanging it for my shade. I'd be curious to dip my toe back in OMA Beauty, quite frankly, because I also feel like I bought the wrong shade of concealer, and I really liked the concealer formula quite a bit, and I was really bummed that it was way too dark for me to be using. So that's a maybe in the future. I had some things on here that I picked up for a giveaway, so we're just gonna skip all over that. I had also bought my Grande Lash MD. Oh wow, that was a year ago? That's crazy. I still don't feel like I'm through that. Like I'm at this point in maintenance mode with the Grande Lash, so I put it on every other night and I just shake it up, and I'm still getting a clear liquid every single night for both eyes. I do feel like it made my lashes grow. I feel like there was a point of no return in the sense that like they stopped getting longer and longer and longer. It was like, okay, your eyelashes have lengthened as much as they possibly can, and you're going to maintain here, and that's kind of where I feel like I'm sitting. Like I don't feel like I'm getting longer and longer length, but I did, after about the 3-month mark, notice a markable difference in my lashes. So gosh, that's been a year. I bet I probably need to just toss what's left in there and purchase a new one. I will probably be putting that on my to buy list for the month of June. All right, next up, Neogen Micellar Water. I've used this up. Clearly, I use micellar waters mostly in the morning as sort of my first cleanse of the day. I don't really use soap and water or anything like that in the morning. I just use a reusable cotton pad and then just kind of some micellar water and just kind of refresh my skin in the morning that way. And then if I feel like I've got any makeup still on my neck, I find my neck very difficult to wash at the sink. Like I'm washing my face and kind of splashing water, but but I find it really hard to get my neck clean at night with sort of my two-step process. And I'm somebody who always am taking like bronzer down my neck and like taking my foundation even a little bit down my jawline just to kind of make sure I don't end up with a line at any given point. I want to gradually fade it down. And so I almost every night end up with my face squeaky clean from my two-step process, but then use some micellar water to like clean my neck, because there's always a little bit of makeup down there that I don't get just through the washing process. So love the Neogen micellar water. I'm currently using one, I repurchased that one several times last year, but right now I'm using one from Lumine, like the Nordic water or something like that. And I do really enjoy that one. And that one is a little easier for me to get my hands on. I mean, let's be clear, Neogen wasn't impossible to get my hands on. It was on Amazon for $16.98. Oh yeah, I had a note here that I was trying a new one in place of the Botanics micellar water. I did not care for that one. That one burned my eyes. I would go back to that one. I really liked the Neogen one. I feel like the Neogen one and the Lumine one are kind of interchangeable at this point in terms of how I feel about them. I think, if I remember correctly, the Lumine one though is slightly cheaper price per ounce perspective. I also ordered a retractable powder brush because I wanted a powder brush in my travel makeup bag. So the same place where I've got that Kate Spade compact, I wanted a retractable powder brush. And I was looking for one that got fluffy as possible, and then compacted down into a little travel tube. And that was remarkably hard to find. I found lots of ones that were for buffing for foundation and were really dense, but I knew I wanted a brush that I could pick up a little like translucent face powder and lightly dust across my face. I didn't want to load my face with powder. Finding one like that was very hard, but I do like the one that I got. I will link that one down below for you. Ah yes, here we go. On 5/18, this is when I returned my Charlotte Tilbury shade 1, got it back as a gift card, and then, like I said, in May, or in June rather, I think I rebought it. Picked up some more Jack Black lip balm. So the Jack Black lip balm I think is very comparable to the Glossier Balm.com. It's a petroleum-based occlusive sort of lip balm that I like putting on at night, because I feel like because it has that petroleum jelly base to it, it really lasts on my lips. Like it is there in the morning. When I rub my lips together in the morning, it is still there. I don't necessarily think that it is hydrating my lips or, you know, solving a chapped lip problem through the ingredients that are in it, but what it's doing is preventing moisture loss and allowing my lips a very healing place to sit at night. And I find that my lips are, when I put that on every single night, my lips are like never chapped. So I love that one, and I think it's a good alternative to, that's a little easier to get your hands on than the Glossier one. I also picked up the NYX Tinted Cheek Balm. NYX Tinted Cheek Balm. Oh, I know what that is. That is this. So this is the Bear With Me Hydrating Cheek Tint in Detox Me. I think this is still available in a lot of overseas countries, but it's not here in the US anymore. It's like a tinted gel, and it looks intimidating, but it's incredibly sheer and blends out very, very sheerly. So it's very easy to work with. I really liked this one. I do think this whole Bear With Me line that they launched around this time last year was mostly limited edition products, which is why you can't find this one anymore, but I do like this. All right, so up next I got a Makeup Revolution Flawless palette. This is actually part of my Shop My Stash this month, ironically. I did a Shop My Stash, I think that will be up before this. If not, it will be coming soon, where I picked a bunch of products where I felt like I really enjoyed them after I did the whole testing process, but I haven't gotten as much use out of them as I've wanted since then. And one of the products that came to mind was this one. So this is their Forever Flawless Unconditional Love Palette. This was a new format of eyeshadows for Makeup Revolution. I think they've done some in this format since. I am not a huge Makeup Revolution eyeshadow lover. I tend to find that they're okay. They're not the worst thing on the market, but they can find so many other drugstore formulas that I think are far superior to anything they've ever put out. This to me was the nicest formula that I've ever tried from Makeup Revolution. It definitely was unlike any other formula I'd ever tried for them. I felt like the mattes were really smooth and easy to work with and pigmented, like really nice quality mattes. And the shimmers, while they weren't like the most intense shimmers of life, they still performed and picked up easily on a brush. I've typically found that Makeup Revolution shimmer shades really suck. Like, you have to wiggle your brush in there. Even if you wet your brush, they don't really get really intense, and oftentimes they fade very easily. Like, I just don't like their shimmer formula. This was a different shimmer formula and I much appreciated it. Plus I thought the color story was really pretty. I mean, it definitely gives me vibes of the Natasha Denona Love palette that came out this year, which was part of the reason I wasn't interested in picking up that palette, because I felt like I had this color story that I already owned in my collection. And it had some really pretty rusty red shades, and then it had some really pretty purples and some corals and some more neutral type shades. So it's a nice palette. I am very excited to get to know it a little bit better. In my time frame, I have just pulled this in 2 days ago to Shop My Stash, and so I've been playing around with Super Shock shadows, which is what is on my eyes today actually. And so I haven't had a chance to play with this yet, but I definitely ready to. All right, so then I placed an order from e.l.f. and I got some monochromatic multi-sticks. I got one in peach and one in rose. These I did not like, and they had big chunky glitter particles throughout all of them. So they were kind of one of those multi-stick products you could use on lips and cheek. I would probably mostly use them on my cheek. I was looking for drugstore cream blush options. And I remember thinking the base formula was nice, and then they went and put these chunky glitter particles in. And it wasn't like, oh, it's a soft shimmer all over your cheek and you just don't like shimmer. It was like, no, you now have random flecks of very large glitter all over your face, and I just did not care for those at all. So those immediately got decluttered. I also picked up their contouring blush and bronzing cream. This did not make it through my last declutter. I much preferred it was an Aqua blush and bronzer, and I liked that formula a lot better. It was had more of a color pop feel to it. This felt just like a traditional cream formula. And I remember that the blush was really pretty, but the bronzer ended up very, very orange on me. And so I just didn't feel like, for my skin tone, keeping an orange bronzer. So during my last sort of brush bronzer declutter here, that one went. And then the cream contour palette, I ended up keeping, I think, one shade out of that. And then it had 3 colors of contour, and I ended up feeling like 2 of the colors were very close together and 1 of them was very, very dark. And so what I did was ended up decluttering the bulk of the contour palette. I kept 1 shade, and then I popped out 1 shade from my cream blush palette from e.l.f. And I don't even remember what shade I popped out. It may have been one that was just too dark for me. And I put that 1 contour shade in here. And then I've got the blush shades over here. And I actually really like this palette. I've traveled with it quite a few times. I think the contour is actually a really lovely, cool toned and yet on my skin tone, because I'm as cool as I am and as fair as I am, it ends up almost looking like a bronzer shade on me. And then just having the diversity of 3 different blushes is really, really nice. I also got a lip exfoliator. This is the one that looks like a bulleted lipstick but actually has some scrubby things in it. I've definitely used that up and I'm on to a new one there. And then I got some skincare stuff from them. I was trying the Marsh-mellow Soothing Mask and the Whipped Plumping Mask. I remember thinking these were just like okay. For the Marsh-mellow Soothing Mask and the Whipped Plumping Mask, the Marsh-mellow Mask ended up feeling like very smoothing. It almost felt like a thick cream. And so it was hydrating, but like I still feel like I preferred a sheet mask. Like if I really want to be hydrated, I prefer a sheet mask to that very thick cream that then you're wiping off. And then the Whipped Plumping Mask was very bouncy and fluffy feeling, and I just felt like it really didn't do a whole heck of a lot. Like they were a little gimmicky for my tastes, and so the packaging was stunning on them. I remember this beautiful acrylic packaging that just blew me away. I thought it was gorgeous, but like, I don't know, they didn't really do much for me. I think I probably used them for the next 3 or 4 months and then just realized, I'm not passionate about having these. And then I had 2 sheet masks that I tried for them. I tried their Hydrating Water Sheet Mask and their Soothing Sheet Mask. The Hydrating Water Sheet Masks came in sets of 2, and I ordered 2 of them, and that was a mistake because I put 1 of them on and it burned like mad. I had to pull it off and my skin was all red underneath, and I think it had just very high levels of alcohol and fragrance, if I remember correctly. So that was a no-go, and I ended up getting rid of those. In fact, I think I just threw those out. I didn't even feel comfortable donating them to someone. I did not like them at all. The Soothing Sheet Mask was fine, but I don't feel like it was anything to write home about. It just was basic and hydrating, which is fine, I guess, but I definitely prefer the sheet masks from Mediheal. They're very, very affordable, and they are loaded with skincare ingredients that actually do meaningful things to your skin besides just hydrate. So yeah, I wouldn't repurchase these. I used up the 3 soothing ones because they were fine, but yeah. I also picked up the BH Cosmetics Hanging in Hawaii palette that month. I love that palette. I clearly had I must have bought Love in London like a little bit earlier in the year, and I loved it so much that I think when I saw it on sale, yeah, it was buy one, get one. And so my stepdaughter wanted something from BH. I don't even remember what we bought her. It may have been an eyeshadow palette. I went ahead and got the Hangin' in Hawaii one. If you like pink tones and coral tones, then this is a fantastic drugstore palette. I've not tried some of the, what is that, Coral Cutie palette? Is that what it's called? It was like the spring palette from ColourPop last year that everyone went like batty for. I never felt like I needed it because I had this, and that was going to give me all the pretty corals and peaches and pinks that I was going to want, and it was devoid of any glitter or super shock shadows that were going to dry out on me very quickly. And the performance of these is just, they're just so good, guys. Like the mattes just go and go and go. Like it's such great pigmentation, and then the metallics are like so shiny and so pretty. So yeah, Hangin' in Hawaii is a fantastic palette, and I love it. And then the last 2 things I purchased was an Essence Melted Chrome eyeshadow. Oh, I got shade 02. Oh, that's right. I got the 01, which was the rosy shade at some point earlier this year, and I broke down and got the taupey one because I think so many of you guys were saying how amazing these were, and I have continued to reach for these over and over and over. These are very wet looking and just such high shine foils. Just a really interesting bouncy texture that does pick up with a brush, but if you are comfortable using your finger, you just get the most high shine foil wet look. That's 02, and then the shade that I had already had was 01, which was more of that like rose tone. I'm actually surprised I haven't done a Pokemon Gotta Catch 'em All kind of mentality on these, because these guys are, well, they're $4.99 each, but they're almost always like on sale, 30% off, or buy one get one half off, etc. And I think I mentioned this in a different video. I want to say that Essence, at least on their website, has launched some more shades of these, and I probably need to plan on picking them up at some point. I will say too, now knowing that these are a year old, the texture of them hasn't changed at all. So if you are curious or concerned about a creamy, bouncy type texture, would it hold up? Would it dry out? Not at all. I don't feel like this formula has changed on me what at all. It still feels very soft, very pliable, still applies like a dream. I just had both of these in my Shop My Stash this last month and used them a ton and have had no problems with them. So definitely not a cream shadow you're gonna have to worry about drying out. And then the last thing I got that month was from OMA Beauty. This was their concealer. And this is the one where I felt like the formula felt lovely and hydrating and creamy and full coverage and blended like a dream and was way too dark on me. So I don't know, I need to probably relook at OMA Beauty. I like the fact that it is an indie brand at Ulta. I like what they were doing in terms of inclusivity and really thinking about what's going to work best for every single shade range. Like I felt like OMA was like the Fenty Beauty of Ulta in terms of their approach to developing products and inclusivity. So in that respect, I would like OMA to do well. I would like to see them succeed at Ulta. So I probably need to go and do an OMA Beauty haul at some point here and actually get my correct shades in these products. All right guys, so that wraps us up for everything that I bought in May of 2019. In general, I think we had pretty good products. There were definitely some duds, a couple from e.l.f. and some from Milk Makeup. And gosh, Milk Makeup's, I think I've said this before, they're just a brand that I really want to like because I like their aesthetic. And then I try products from them and I'm always like, yeah, they're fine. in general, I think a fairly successful shopping month. Definitely some products that are still in my collection that I really love from BH Cosmetics and from Charlotte Tilbury, and these little Essence singles and the Kaja eyeshadows. So yeah, I think it was a fairly successful month, and I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and kind of looking back a year and seeing what is still great and what do I still love. I hope you guys are having a great week. Look forward to chatting with you down in the comments.